Okay, let's roll right into our post-race for today's 43rd annual AAA 400 here at Dover International Speedway. And winning today's race was the number 2 Miller Lite Dodge, driven by Brad Keselowski, crew chief Paul Wolf, and owner Roger Penske. Brad Keselowski now takes over the point standings. He's got a 5-point lead over Jimmy Johnson. And this is Brad's 5th win of the season. Ties him with Denny Hamlin for most in the series, his 9th win career. And Brad has won 2 of the first 3 races here in the chase. So, Brad, I'm going to ask you a couple questions first to lead off. Talk about how the race went for you from maybe the start, obviously, to the finish. And then it certainly looks like that you were able to, really do a good job, your entire race team. And you as the driver do a great job of just stretching things out to the max there as it pertained to the Sunoco racing fuel, too.
Sure, thank you. Well, the first thing, I see the Chris Economy Mackie typewriter. See that, RP? Chris Economy, that's really great. And I want to thank the track and the sport that took the time to recognize Chris and even David. That's pretty cool. Chris, I read a lot of his stuff over the years. And I'm sure everyone else in here did, too. So that's great. But happy for our day here today, obviously. And it's a long race. 400 miles at Dover is that's pretty darn grueling, to be honest. But, my team just kept at it all race long. We made some adjustments and made our car a little bit better here and there. And I was really proud of that effort. Certainly a lot stronger than what we've been here in years past. I thought we were really strong here past fall, but elsewise, I think we're really strong here this time around, and I'm very, very proud of our team for that. But, as the race went on, we just slowly eked our way up from the 10th starting position that we had up to 4th and kind of fell in there on that last run after my pit crew got us that spot. We were running 5th, and I think they got me out 4th or however that worked out, something like that. And that put us in position to really capitalize on good strategy and execution. And my guys did that. They did a great job, like you said, with the fuel, and together we were able to manage it very well, which is, as important as anything else in racing these days. And, as you saw, it came together at the end for a victory.
And Paul Wolf, certainly on top of that pit box today, you made a lot of strategic calls, did a lot of things to improve the race car throughout the weekend, but maybe just talk about some of those things that allowed you to get to victory lane.
Well, like Brad had said, this hasn't been one of our best tracks, but we talked on the plane ride up here and felt that we were capable of winning here this weekend. I think that type of mentality and attitude is throughout our team, and I feel like there was a lot of hard work that went in behind the scenes preparing for this weekend, and we were able to unload here and have good speed in our car. I feel like much better than what we've been in the past. And I think we backed that up with a solid qualifying effort on yesterday afternoon, and just slowly worked on our car all day. It took us probably 2 runs to get it, capable of running in the top 5. We were able to do that. Had a little hiccup on pit road, but everybody stayed calm and focused and recovered from that, and went on to put ourselves in position. I feel like any weekend you can run top 5 towards the closing laps of a race. You're putting yourselves in position to win, and that's what we were able to do today. And just a great job by everybody on this team. And this was another small step to the 10 races, and just really proud of to be able to come on here with a points lead.
And Roger, certainly we've not quite even a third of the way done through the chase, but this race team number 2 has won 2 of the 3 races, and certainly has laid down the gauntlet that they're going to be a factor here, and they're going to be a championship contender. Talk about that.
Well, first, I want to dedicate this win to Chris Economaki. Obviously, I go back, probably 45 years with him when I was a driver, and used to take his photos home from the track. And I remember one thing about him: he cared about the little guy, running on the short tracks. And I obviously can't thank him enough for what he did for us, and I know he'd be proud to know today that this Penske racing team is dedicating this race to him, and certainly Brad's comments reflect the rest of the team. But, really today, it was all about teamwork, and as I said before, Brad has really pulled his team together. He knows what he wants. Paul has got a great group of guys working around that car. It's not only the ones that are over the wall, but the ones that come to the track, but certainly the ones that are at home. The aerodynamics, the Dodge and the engine shop, these guys are just outstanding. That fuel economy, it takes two people. That driver knows how to get it, and obviously the guys know how to set that up at home. So a real credit. And to me, as Paul said, coming back after a little bit of a mishap there in the pits, you could see how fast the car was. I think that was really, for me, to see him be able to stay ahead of the 18 and really pull out and run laps like he did. That we knew that we had the speed, but obviously you couldn't show that at the end because we wanted to be sure that we didn't have to come in and pit like the other guys did. So smart racing. I think Brad's ability to get through the traffic. I've watched Jimmy Johnson over the years and Gordon and obviously Kyle Busch and Hamlin, but he's right up there with him watching it today. He didn't make a mistake, and we didn't lose any time on the track. So I just want to congratulate him and thank the team and obviously all you folks for supporting us.
Thank you, Roger. We'll take questions now. We'll start with Lee. Go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Brad, before the race started, you said, spoiler alert, whoever wins the race today will be the new media favorite to win the championship. Are you our new media favorite to win the championship?
You tell me. There are 7 races to go, and it feels great to win. I'm so proud of my team, but I can't state loudly enough how much longer this battle is. And it's very tempting, whether it's the media or the teams themselves, to, get in a comfort zone of saying such and such has control of this chase. But there's a reason why it's 10 rounds. And we're not even halfway. We're 3 rounds in. And by no means do I feel like we're the favorite. Certainly we're not the underdog probably at this point. But I think that there's so much racing to go and so many opportunities for things to go wrong or right for anyone out there that it's way too early to point those fingers and say those things. So, my perspective is we got a lot more racing to go, and let's just let the racing play out and go from there.
You think that you're underrated? Do you think that you don't get enough respect for what you and Paul have accomplished?
I don't honestly care, but I'm happy to be here today, and I'm going to live in this moment. And when it's over, I'm going to focus on Talladega, which is only 7 days away.
Let me just answer that for me. I know he's probably shy. I think that, he is a champion. He did in the nationwide. He's helped us build his team. And I think that what he said to me quietly, let's just put the numbers on the board. And I think they show, what a team we have. But as he said earlier, we got 7 more rounds here. But, right now I think he's doing a terrific job, and I love the position we're in.
Go ahead. Next question. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Brad, do you feel like to win the chase you need to win or run well in a race like this where maybe it's more a little more as much strategy as it is car?
Yeah, I look at I think Tony won Loudon last year, and Tony set a heck of a template last year of how to win the championship, winning 5 of the races. And by no means do I want to infer that that's going to be the way it is this year, but he sent a heck of a message through the garage last year. And you look at his win at Loudon was similar nature. He had a good car with good strategy. And it's going to take both. Those are those clutch moments where a team has to come together, not a driver and not just a crew chief, a team. Everybody has to be on their game. And, that's why it's a championship team and not just a championship driver or a championship car. It's all of us together.
Let's go to David Newton, and then we'll go to Marty, and then we'll go to the press box. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, Brad, David Newton, ESPN.com. You said over the radio right after the race, said no weaknesses. Can you talk about what you mean by that?
Well, everybody said coming to Dover this was going to be our weakness, and I didn't believe it, and like Paul said, he didn't believe it. We felt like we could come here to win, and I'm sure I didn't say in my pre-race media I felt like we were going to win the race by any means, but we certainly felt like we had a great shot of it and weren't worried about our stats and not listening to those that say that this track was going to be our weakness.
Let's go, Marty.
Marty Smith, ESPN. This is for Paul. This might be a ridiculous assertion, but I just wonder. I know that crew chiefs study often past races and trends and all of those types of things coming into a weekend, certainly one of this level of importance. When you see what's happened in the past here, would you ever be apt to tune horsepower out of an engine in the effort to ensure that you could pull off what you did on a day like this?
No, Marty, I think, the one thing that the Penske engine shop's done a great job is giving us the power and mileage, and we haven't really, they haven't really given me the option to sacrifice one or the other. They've just worked hard to try to get both, and I don't think there's been a race yet this year where we've, given up power for mileage, so that definitely wasn't our approach coming into the weekend, but, as I monitored the race as it was playing out and understanding where some of the other cars were mileage-wise, I felt like we were as good or better than, the guys running in front of us, and that obviously put us in the position to run the way we did and put the pressure on the 48.
Let's go press box, and then we'll come back downstairs. Press box, question?
Bill Fleischman, the Philadelphia Daily News for Roger. Roger, are you starting to get the feeling this might be your year for the first Cup championship? And I think it's surprising to a lot of people that this is the only Dodge team in the chase, that you might be able to do it under those circumstances.
Well, I think we've been, representing Dodge now for 10 years, obviously, and obviously it's our last year, and we want to go out on a high note. The performance to date through the chase and also the first 28 races has been really powerful from the standpoint of the team. Obviously, I look up to folks like Hendrick and Joe Gibbs and Childress and Roush and, the other teams that have been so good here, and we've never had a chance to get to the top. We were close a couple times with Rusty, but this competition is just very, very tough. A lot of smart people, a lot of experience, and I think you got to build it. I see how these other guys have done it. They haven't just done it overnight. They've built it with the people around them. I think when you look at Brad, and he and Paul have been able to attract the people that are giving us the performance on and off the track, and certainly Mike Nelson and Tim Cindric and the guys back at the shop and Travis Kaiser. There's just so many people now that are pulling on this, and these are people that maybe no one knew about here 3 or 4 years ago, but we sure know about them in our shop, and to me that's made the difference, and we just got to continue to put our arms around those folks and say let's keep going. And I think that Paul's a great leader, and the guy that's pushing us every day is Brad, and that's what we like.
Let's stay at the press box for one more, and then we'll come downstairs. Go ahead.
John Evans, Annapolis Capital. You talk about how this was a weak track from you, but I know you run well here in the nationwide, different races, different competition. How much of that could you carry over here in terms of confidence and maybe in the back of your mind feeling you weren't as weak as maybe people thought you were?
Well, Paul and I talked about for a little while. He ran really well before I started driving for him here in the Nationwide Series, and I ran really well before that, and together we came here and didn't run well at all. So I don't know why that was. But, you ascertain your confidence, to me, based on your success over the last few weeks, and that's really a good showing of the strength of your cars and your team. And like I said, the last 12 weeks, I think it's been 13 weeks, our cars have been really, really strong and getting stronger. And it's that perspective that I carry into the race weekend and nothing else, because I know that that's really what matters. I could be going to my best racetrack and know that we haven't ran well over the last few weeks, and that's not likely to change just because it's your best racetrack. So it's how you're performing together as a team, and I can't emphasize the word team strongly enough, because that's what this sport is. And it's easy to get caught up looking in stat books at drivers and forget about teams. And that's what this was today. It was a team effort.
All right, let's go Jim Utter, Nate Ryan, and Seth Livingstone.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer, for Paul and also for Brad. The first caution of the race, which happened in the middle of green flag pit stops, left about 6, 7, 8 cars on the lead lap. And as the race went on, for a variety of reasons, that number never really grew that much. Number one, were you surprised to see that for an incident that took place, considering it happened so early in the race? And number two, how did that affect your approach to the race the remainder of the day?
I was definitely surprised that, especially with the wave around rules, that it never cycled back around. I thought, once some cautions fell, in the right time, guys would wave around and get more cars back on the lead lap. But it was definitely a different race than we've seen in a while. And there's definitely we look at the whole race and how it's playing out of decisions we make, when we're going to pit, when we're not. And that definitely, with only having 7 cars on the lead lap at one point, 6 cars, I think, at one point, definitely changes our strategy and when we're going to pit and when we're not, and what risk we're willing to take. I mean, it's you got to monitor the race really hard, and that's part of having a good strategy, and it's one thing all the guys on this team continue to do, and feed me with good information so we can continue to make good decisions. And it's like I said, it's not always the fastest car that wins, and at this point in the season, it doesn't really matter how you get to victory lane. It's just getting there, and that's why I'm proud of the effort today.
Let's go to Nate. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, Jim. Brad, you want to answer that question?
And you're talking about strategy, I take it, and how it played.
Started off with only about
on the strategy with where the yellows fell, Jim. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's weird how that works sometimes, and I think different tracks lend themselves to it. And I don't know if we got lucky or I don't know how that all worked, but it certainly changed the dynamics of the race. And, some guys ended up on the bad side, some guys ended up on the good side, and we were fortunate to be on the good side, and that's good by me.
Go ahead, Nate.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. For Brad, first of all, thanks for retweeting me during Jim's question.
You're welcome.
Secondly,
smart guy, Nate Ryan.
you ran, I guess, the final 89 laps on one tank of fuel and were able to stretch it out but not lose speed, while the 48 went about 80% over the last 40 laps. And after the race, Jimmy Johnson pretty much admitted that saving fuel is like his biggest weakness. How would you characterize your ability to save fuel, and how much did you back off? And would you say that might be an edge that you have a little bit on some of the field right now, that you're so good at being able to conserve?
Well, I'm not going to get caught too much up in it, because I like the strategy that we have and how we do it, and certainly we're executing it very well. But I mean, it's a lot of it's on the team, It sounds great to give the credit to the driver, but, the engine and the strategy makes it all work as well. So I think you have to keep it in context of team. And I think this is probably the 20th time I've said that word, but this is for a good reason, because it's how you come together as a team, and everybody can contribute, this much, Nate. And when everybody contributes this much and you stack some pennies, before you know it, you've got $1. And before you know that, saying you've got tens and hundreds. So that's what it takes at the Cup level to win right now. It takes an accumulation of everybody that can contribute at a very high level to make the effort better. And I think everybody's on the same page as far as the two teams concerned.
Go ahead, Seth.
Seth Livingstone, NASCAR.com. Roger, congratulations. As you noted, you've been a partner with Dodge a long time, 10 years. Is it any kind of awkward situation for you being in the lame duck situation? I'm curious what kind of support you guys are getting, or are you more or less out there on an island? And then, Brad, if you could follow up on just what it's like to be driving specifically for Dodge this year and being in the position you're in with their last year in Cup.
Well, number one, we're certainly not on an island. Dodge has really performed with us from an engineering standpoint. They committed to us 3 or 4 years ago as we become the only team. And, from my perspective, we made this decision together. They didn't want to commit long term, and, to have drivers and people, that was one of the things that we had to do in order to go forward and build this team. I think that, one of the great things are that we're friends, we're a Dodge dealer. So, we represent a number of the brands. And I think this is, a partnership which, sometimes they end. But I would say that there has been a lot of support both on the nationwide side, on the truck, and also on the Cup side from them. So, we made the decision early on. So there's no disincentive for me, for Brad, for Paul, or anybody on the team, not to perform at the highest level because, we want to be sure that people understand it. We got a great race team, and no matter what the mark is, we want to represent them in a first-class way. And, the greatest thing we could do would, to bring a championship to Dodge, this year. But I'm sorry to see him get out of the Cup side. Hopefully they might do something in nationwide. But at the moment, we represent them. They're partners, and we're going to do our best.
Yeah, the second part, yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's a unique situation for sure, but one that I know that we're committed to making the most out of. And, being in victory lane and hopefully having a shot at winning for the championship with. It certainly would be very special to do that, considering the circumstances. And, I can't say strongly enough, like I said, how committed we are to finding a way to be successful. And, I like how, Roger has, great class and control of the situation to where everybody within Penske Racing knows that message that we're going to do the best that we can for them, as it runs out the year.
Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. For Paul, I have a couple of questions. First, do you consider staying out and saving fuel a safe choice, or did you think you took a big risk today? And then do you think next year will you have even less input as far as, fuel mileage versus horsepower because you obviously won't have your own engine shop?
Well, I don't, I think there's always some risk in calls like that. But, we know where we stand. We know what we need to do. We understand the guys are racing right now for the championship. And, I felt like we were as good as anybody on mileage, and I felt like the guys we were racing, we would push them as hard as we could. And at the end of the day, we don't want to make any bad decisions, but we're still come here to win a race. And, there's a part of me that at the end of that race, I wasn't really thinking the championship as much as I was getting to victory lane and doing the things we've done all year to get us here, and that's win races and not be scared to make some decisions that maybe some other teams wouldn't. So I'm trying not to, change the thought process or the things we've done to get here as we go into this championship, and try to continue to do the things and make decisions like we would leading up to these last 10 races, and that's what we did today.
Do we have another one in the press box?
Oh, can you just...
He had a question about next year.
Okay,
and,
go ahead, Paul.
It's still early on. I don't expect, things to be a whole lot different next year. Right now we're staying focused on this championship and, working with the engine shop and with Dodge. And, there's guys, like the boss said, that work hard back at the shop that are dealing with some of those things and getting us prepared for next year. But right now I'm just focusing on, trying to win this championship, and we'll worry about next year's fuel mileage next year.
Go ahead, press box.
Dustin Holt, Times Record. This question is for Brad. On a pit stop, there was a apparent jack problem, and you came out of the pits in front of the leaders almost a lap down, but then extended your distance from the leaders. And talk about your team's never say die attitude and how they, no matter what seems to happen, you all never give up and always seem to come out on the good end.
Yeah, that's it's really special. That's not something you see every day, I can tell you that. And like I said, that's a mentality. And, a lot of people can, play that off as luck, but in some ways you make your own luck, and it comes with that mentality of not giving up and fighting adversity and making the most out of it. And that's what we did. And, that run, to me, was one of the most important runs of the day, with the exception of, obviously, the last one, because it showed that we had a strong car and that in equal footing, equal track position, we could run just as fast, if not faster, than the lead group. So, I was kind of hoping, to be quite honest, for more long runs to prove that out, but didn't really get it. But that was certainly a big run, like you said, and it showcased the spirit that this two team has.
Any other questions for the number 2 team? Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Muller. With about 20 laps to go, were you confident that you had the game plan? You knew that the Gibbs cars were going to have to pit with about 10 to go, I guess. When did you feel confident that you knew what was going on in the race, barring a yellow at the end?
I never did. I'm listening to the tone in Paul's voice, and I felt confident when I crossed the checkered flag. How about that? So why don't you answer that one, Paul? You seem like you were pretty confident.
I mean, we had heard, I don't know what lap it was at the 18 and the 11 were going to go ahead and pit. The 48, we knew they were close, but understanding what their pit sequence was throughout the race, we kind of started to understand maybe where they were at mileage-wise, and we felt like if we rode right with them, and once we got past the 48, we felt like then we could go into full save and just monitor. I think the 24 had pitted earlier, so he didn't have to check up, but I knew we were close, but I'm also confident in Brad's ability to save, and I know he was working on that some when he was behind the 48, and we knew what number lap we had to go to full save to be able to make it. So as it might look a little risky, there's definitely some thought and process behind it of what we do. Definitely, I was nervous. I don't know who wouldn't be. I mean, it's a big race and a big win, and we saw the opportunity to go for it. And like I said before, I don't want to change the way we approach our racing. Try to stay focused on trying to win races, and that's what we did today.
Let's finish up. One more question in the press box. Go ahead.
This is John Evans from the Capitol again. My question's kind of along those lines. In your mind, how many miles did you have left? How close were you?
I don't know, probably another 100.
No, without giving up any secrets, how close were you?
We could have been too far away. I don't know.
No, I mean we were within a lap or two. I think that's kind of where everybody was at. It's hard to say exactly. We had enough to do some burnouts and whatnot. So I'd say he did a great job saving for sure.
Congratulations to Brad Keselowski, crew chief Paul Wolf, and team owner Roger Penske on this win here today. And it's going to be 7 more great race weekends, and look forward to seeing you all at Talladega. Thank you.